Gotta keep those burp.
NHL best bets for Monday, December 29th. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Guys, going to be back here with you after a couple of days off and a couple of days off of the NHL as well for me. So good to be back in action tonight. I have a few plays going in hockey. Of course, myself, the Prez, Carmine Bianco, Brian Leonard. Got a handful of guys here on the show today. As always, Carm, I missed you on Friday, brother. How are things? And how was your Christmas, man?
Good. If we can just get the guy in the background to stop sneezing or at least mute his mic, it would be great. Andrew, honestly, good weekend for me, I think, across all sports yesterday. 1-1 day in the NFL yesterday, but and in NHL, but 3-0 day in soccer. And on Saturday, a 5% winner with the Canes in regulation. You know, every time I take a team in regulation, Andrew, the other team scores first. and it is one of the worst feelings. You're like, come on, man, let's get this thing going. But there are some really good hockey games on Saturday as well, too. The 6-60 went 3-3 in that one. Some high scoring games in the Leaf one, which I didn't expect, 7-5. And then the LA Kings, they somehow found 6 goals against Anaheim. I know they're playing better defense. I had under 6 as part of the 6-60. And the Kings found 6 goals. I don't know how they did it. But anyways, today we got the Prez coming in. He's going to do the all-Canadian battle, Edmonton Oilers, Winnipeg Jets. Andrew and I are going to break down Washington and Florida. Brian Leonard comes in to do the Buffalo Sabres and St. Louis Blues. It'll be interesting to hear. 8 wins in a row for the hottest team in the NHL. Andrew and I will break down Minnesota and Vegas. Maybe we'll get Brian to hang around for that one. Same game parlay from Andrew. Hopefully he's got a nice, juicy winner for us. A pod play. Pod play wins on Saturday with Tampa Bay, plus 105. We're over 7K in that pod play bankroll, so that's looking good. And then we're going to close it out with a few promos along the way, but appreciate all you guys tuning in. And with that said, Andrew, let's bring in the one, the only, the GOAT, the second GOAT. Dave Koken will always be the GOAT. The second GOAT, baby GOAT, the Prez.
Morning, Prez.
Hey, baby GOAT, what's up?
Baby GOAT. Dave Koken is the GOAT, according to you. Okay.
Yes.
But I have a hat that says boss. Anyway.
Okay. Well, you are the boss.
Crazy football game last night. My God.
Okay, you had a
Somebody
dream.
just scored now. Just incredible. We saw 2 hook and ladders on the same day.
Yeah. The Bills.
Yeah.
Who couldn't score for 55 minutes. And then the other hook and ladder was in the late game, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Yeah. Chicago pulled it up on the second last play of the game. Except St. Ran. I mean, their St. Ran's defense holding on that hook and ladder, that was the defensive moment of the week, because I would say a team scores 9 out of 10 times on that play.
I fell asleep at 7 p.m. last night and woke up at 9 a.m. this morning to checking the scores of an unbelievable NFL game. Everybody telling me
14 hours.
I had the craziest past 2 days. I needed to sleep. It was awful. And of course, this is the game that I miss. It couldn't have been a 13-3 ball game that I missed. That's the game that I missed. It was very, very frustrating for me, but feeling a lot better.
I had a 5% play last night on San Fran minus the 3, so I got it done. But I got to tell you, and Carm, you can ask Vivian, this is a true story, dude. The game starts. Chicago kicks the ball. San Fran collects it. Purdy and the San Fran team march onto the field for play number 1. And I am living in an NFL nightmare. So I turn to Vivian and I say, Purdy's going to walk out, and on the first play, he's going to throw an interception, pick 6 to the right side. First play, it happens. Nobody paid me shit for that piece of advice. And then Vivian is like, do you think this game's going to go over or under 80? At one time it was 80. And I'm like, Vivian, if only I could predict things.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Get
That's
get
not.
15% off of all of Prez's plays with Nostradamus 15. Nostradamus.
You don't
15.
believe me? You want me to bring?
No,
Vivian?
I do.
Vivian,
I do, but we got
Vivian,
such
get
a
up from
no,
under
but we
the
have such
table and
a
tell him.
we have such a big show today. Prez Edmonton Oilers minus 130, Winnipeg plus 107. Where are you going with this one?
Hold on, Prez. Before you give your
Yes.
breakdown, I think you got to just switch to the other mic really quick. I think you might be on different mic, but yeah, it was a really good day in the NFL yesterday. And I'll tell you what, there were some games that I didn't think were going to be that quality, but they ended up being pretty good games as well. For anybody out there that's watching the World Juniors, I'm a big World Juniors fan. Carm, you know I bet on that. Favorites started off 7-1 straight up, and underdogs were 7-1 ATS. Canada were minus 5.5 goal favorites against Latvia. They won 2-1 in overtime.
Wow.
So I've been betting the World Juniors quite a bit. There's huge. I mean, pretty much just take the team that nobody thinks has a chance to win on the goal line and you make money, because I had friends that were lining up with goal scoring bets and they won 2-1. You know, how many goal scorers could there have been, right? So anyway, Press, we got you back, brother. What do you have for us in this game?
Sorry about that. And thanks for pointing that out. I moved everything upstairs for End Zone Live. Thanks to the guys, Titans. I know you were there. All these guys that showed up on End Zone Live. My God, we had 17,000 people. Okay. Edmonton, Winnipeg, guys. I'm going to go completely opposite of the plan. I'm going over the total of 6 in this game. And, you know, this is not the Winnipeg team of old. This team is 20-16 on the year to the over. They're playing to the over on a regular basis. Minnesota, they just played 4-3, 7 goals. Utah, 4-3, 7 goals. And we've got this Edmonton team coming off of a pretty shitty performance against Calgary. They were all over the Flames. They could have scored a lot of goals, but they only got 2. Before that, they put up 5 and 4. I think 6 is an early low number. When you look head to head, last time they played each other, which was in December, it was 6-2. They've gone 6 or more 4 out of the last 5 times in a head-to-head matchup. And I think both teams are still well rested from the break. I think everyone will have their legs. I'm not going to overthink this, and I'm not going to continue breaking this game down. Just take the over.
Take the over. This is one where the goalies are actually confirmed. The only game thus far where both goalies are confirmed. It's Calvin Pickard and Connor Hellebuck for the Jets. Prez, you know, when you look at the Jets, everyone figured, myself included, once Hellebuck got back in there, you know, Vezina Trophy goalie, that they would start playing better, and they haven't.
No,
they just can't
they're on a
score
free fall.
goals.
Yeah,
and he's allowed in his last 3 games 11 goals, 3, 4, and 4. And when you're not scoring goals, it is tough when your goalie is allowing goals as well too. Do you see, like, you know, like we say always, like kind of like regression to the mean? I'm not even sure that applies to it here, but at some point the Jets have to turn around their season.
Yeah, I think the Jets are going to be a bet on team moving forward. 15, 17, and 4 on the year. They had a lot of injuries prior, and I think this team is a much better team, obviously, than their record. This team's lost 5 in a row, Carmen, 8 of their last 9. So I'm not jumping in right now. But I will say this, if Winnipeg wins tonight, and I think they can, I think that they're going to be a bet on team for me. I expect to be betting on them the next game. Frankly, as soon as they win a game, I plan on betting on them. So if they lose tonight and win their next game, I will be betting on them moving forward. So
I agree with that, Prez. I do. I think that they are a team that, but I will say, like, I understand your thoughts on tonight's game, but would you say large picture, the Jets go back to who they really are? And that's if they win, it probably goes under. And, you know, Edmonton, when they win, it goes over. Would you say large picture, that is who Winnipeg is?
I don't know, Andrew. I don't know. This Winnipeg team has got scorers up and down the lineup. I mean, they don't have, you know, Kucherov, but this is a well-balanced lineup, especially with the third line being able to score the way they do. This is a team that has defenders that can move the puck. I don't know. And I don't think, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Connor is the same as old. So
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
It's
question.
cool that he won the MVP. It goes to show, like, this is why it's cool to see that he won the MVP. Carm, to your point, like, you know, a goalie winning the MVP, it's very rare to see, but I think that we're starting to see it between his injuries and a bit of regression we've seen from him. We kind of know why he was the MVP. I mean, he really is the guy on this team that drives the bus.
Yep.
Fresh off a 5% winner last night.
That is true, brother. I got one NHL play up tonight. It's the over in the Winnipeg Edmonton game, so no need to buy it. That's a client play. As well, I've got one NFL play up, one NBA, one college basketball. Guys, don't sleep on my NBA. I've been telling you guys for 3.5 years. My NBA has been really good for 3.5 years of betting. So please do not sleep on my NBA. Other than that, thanks for having me. Check out the best betting show ever. Carm, I think I'm on a lot this week, so I'm excited to be doing this with you guys.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it before you head south and get some nice rays, man.
Saturday, baby.
As well, too. Saturday, baby, he says. All right, man. Listen, best of luck to you. Get out of here. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
Thanks, buddy. Later, guys.
Andrew, how was your weekend overall? I normally go right back to you, but we need to get the Prez in and out because he's got his own show and stuff going. Overall, like you talked about the Canada game, I got a text message from Rob, our good buddy, and this is well before the game. I think it was the night before, and he's like, "Latvia, lock it up. Latvia is the big play tomorrow." Yeah. And I think they knocked out Canada the year before, didn't they? In the juniors?
They beat them the year before. The Czechs knocked them out, but Latvia beat them before in the shootout. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I haven't really given out much. I've done some tweets and some videos and stuff, but tonight I actually do have 2 plays, Carm, for the World Juniors. So thanks for teeing me up with that one. But
that's good.
You know, I've been real low volume, to be honest with you. And, you know, it's been frustrating with hockey this year because I think on the show I've had some good reads, but with some best bets with clients and the 5% plays just have not gone my way. We went into the break. The last time I talked to all of you guys at a 5% with the Flames and Oilers. That game was 3-1 after the first period, I think, Carm, or 2-1 after the first period. We didn't get the over there. That was tough. But you know what? Like NFL, the player props are going well, and we've got some games that really stood out to us, and we got some picks for tonight. So, but you know what? My holiday celebrations stopped yesterday. My dad's birthday is the 28th. So right when there was all kinds of Christmas celebrations still going on, and you know how you can feel a little bit tired and exhausted and maybe a couple too many drinks, then all of a sudden my dad's birthday comes around and we're going out to celebrate his birthday. So it didn't really stop. So maybe that has one reason to do with why I was in bed at 7 p.m. yesterday. That could be a main reason. So I'm refreshed. I was up at the crack of dawn this morning and ready to rock. I love this NHL board. How often do we get a board this big on a day like today, Carm? It's great.
It seems like obviously with the way New Year's sets up, the NHL has sort of swapped days where Tuesday and Thursdays are the busiest days. It's Monday and Wednesday are the busiest days. So we're going to get a couple guys on to do those shows. Brian Leonard will be here shortly after Andrew and I break down this second game. Andrew, and for you guys in the chat, we love you guys. We love the messages, especially on Friday's video. You guys posted a lot of messages later on how you thought the 6 and 60 would do. Is like, as I mentioned, 3-3 day. Dan Alexander got the best of me in the newbie versus Bianco, Bills versus Eagles game. But, you know, Andrew, real quick on that one, and I'll make this real quick. I think at the end of the day, it almost turned into, you know, the Bills gambled at the end of the game. They're pretty much locked in. New England's going to win that division because they're not going to lose to Miami this weekend. Although now that they're locked in, who knows what happens next week. Josh Allen can get a week off. They win for 2 points. They have no faith in their kicker, who missed an extra point earlier, and an extra point on that final play would have given them the 14-13 win. The Eagles had 17 yards of total offense in the second half. That just shows you how horrible a game that was. And Dan and I were thinking of going to that game, so I'm glad we didn't. With that said, let's talk Washington and Philadelphia. Washington and Florida. Andrew, Florida minus 131, Washington plus 108. I have thoughts on this game, and it's a client play, but I'm going to go to you first on it, and then I'm going to tell you guys what I have loaded for clients on this game.
Well, Carm, I hope we're on the same page for this one because, I'm going to back the team that lost their first game back after the break, and I'm going to fade the team that won their first game back after the break. And I'm going to look back over at you for your reaction, hoping that we're on the same page here. I'm not quite sure yet. Look, a lot of my metrics, a lot of the numbers that I look at have shown really, really, really big signs of defensive regression for this Capitals team overall over the last 10 games. The shots on goal allowed, dangerous scoring opportunities allowed, ranking dead last in shot suppression in the entire league, just not really getting in front of pucks, not blocking pucks. And this Florida Panthers team, I think, is going to be really fired up after losing to a rival. I'm shocked that Tampa Bay put up the performance that they did against the Habs. Although they got outplayed, they still scored. But you think that Florida is going to be really motivated after losing the way they did, especially to their rival, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're going to want to get right back on track. They're starting to get healthier. There had to be a good mindset in that locker room because, well, Matthew Tkachuk is back skating again. So when I look at these numbers, when I pull up some of the websites that I like to use right now, whether you're looking at last 10 games, whether you're looking at the last, 5 games, 20 games, whatever it is right now, the Corsi for percentage, the shots on goal percentage, that all favors the Florida Panthers going into this one. Now I look at some player props here. I do think Brad Marchand at this price is worth a sprinkle for a goal, but even better right now, Sam Bennett to get an assist. I think you can get pretty good odds on. Those guys have been very good, but Sam Bennett's turned into more of a playmaker. You could take advantage of him. Now, I understand the goaltending has been good for the Washington Capitals long-term, and Logan Thompson's great, but some of the big-name guys haven't been great lately for the Washington Capitals, especially defensively playing 200-foot hockey, and I feel like it's a good spot here for Florida. So, Carm, I'm backing Florida off that tough loss against Tampa, and we're fading a team that all the websites that I use are telling me that they're in a defensive regression right now, and they're going to start letting in some goals. I'm hoping you either like the over or you like Florida. Please don't come back with Washington on me.
Well, Andrew, here we go. All the websites you like don't compare. Well, they do compare. They're websites, but I look at a database of numbers and stuff that I put together, and I think Washington, despite that 7-3 loss mixed in there, that Washington is they're rounding into bet on form. And by that, I mean, you got to start playing this team. This is a team that struggled early on in the season. They're only 4 points back of the Carolina Hurricanes right now, Andrew. 4 points back for the Metro lead for a team that struggled early on. Now, you look at these two teams, and they met earlier this season in Florida. That game finishes 6-3. There's nothing that defines a final score that is misleading than that 6-3 number, because this came at a time where Washington were taking penalties and Florida made them pay for it. 3 power play goals, 2 official power play goals, 1 on the tail end, 1 goal scored on the tail end of the power play. Power play expired. 10 seconds later, they score in that one. They get an empty net goal as well, too. All of Washington's goals were 5-on-5 in that game. This is a team now that is lowering their penalties per game, and their numbers across the board are getting better, Andrew. The only numbers that scare me with Washington is their power play percentage and penalty killing. It needs to get up. Their power play is like 29th. Their penalty killing is like 26th. Shots against per game, 20th. Those are all red numbers to me. Those are numbers that are going to eventually improve for this team. But I think they are playing better. They went through a spurt where Thompson wasn't playing great. This is a game in which I think Washington can go down there and get the road win against Florida. This is a good Washington team, and I get it. Maybe the whole Tkachuk back on the ice with the yellow jersey, which is obviously the non-contact jersey. Maybe that serves as a bit of a distraction for a team that has been playing next man up, and they're like, okay, well, he's almost back, and you sort of take a breath and you think that your job is now done. I'm not saying that's what Florida's doing here, but at plus 108 for Washington, I think Washington wins tonight. and getting plus money with them makes me feel all that much better. So you and I are going mano a mano.
The first game back together, man. My first game back on the show. We're head to head. Oh my goodness. Didn't take long. Didn't take long for the gloves to be off at the middle of the ice here, Carm. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good game. What would you say? For me, the way I look at it is like, I think that if it goes over, I trust Florida. If it goes under, I think the Capitals could win, because I think that Logan Thompson has to have a good game. I right now give that goaltending edge to them, actually. But how do you feel about the road home stuff? Does that bother you at all, or these days in the NHL, it doesn't really mean anything?
It doesn't, because the Eastern Conference has such parity right now. You look at it, sort of like top to bottom. The Sabres have won 8 games in a row, and they're still like 2 points outside of a playoff spot, but they're also 8 points out of first place, I think, or 9 points out of first place in the conference. This is how it is right now. You can put together, and I have some thoughts on their game coming up when Brian Leonard breaks it down. But you look at some of these teams, Andrew. And aside from the Buffalo Sabres, there are a bunch of teams that, and very good teams, that are just like you see the zigzag in their numbers: win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 2, and that is parity at its best. At some point, you would think that we are going to see the cream rise to the top in this Eastern Conference, but we haven't seen it as of yet. There's some very good teams at the top of the Eastern Conference, Carolina obviously being one of them, the Detroit Red Wings, who get the win over the Toronto Maple Leafs last night in OT, another one of them. So we'll see how it goes, but there is a lot of the NHL season still to go, and a lot is going to change between now and the middle of April, when we hit that final week of the NHL season. Let's bring in Brian Leonard, because he's going to do the Buffalo Sabres and St. Louis Blues. I don't know how Brian comes up with these games when I ask him to pick one, but God bless him. Brian chooses the Buffalo Sabres and St. Louis Blues. Is Brian there?
Yes, Carm. If this was a television production company, that I think Brian would be in tough to impress the producers for the game of the night. But if he keeps giving us winners, doesn't matter which game it is. What's up, Brian? How are you?
And he's wearing, I don't know if that's a Sabres blue or if that's a St. Louis blue color or whatever. He's thrown me right off.
I didn't think of that when I put this on. I thought half of it. By the way, to break your tie, I'm with Carmine. Sorry, Andrew.
Well, I guess I'll have to fade the public then. I'll
fade the.
We are public. We're general public, because I play almost all underdogs. But speaking of underdogs, I've had a terrific weekend. I know you're talking about your weekend. I'm 16-3 over the weekend.
Wow,
but
that's awesome.
I had
unbelievable
plus 130 underdog yesterday. That, according to the Money Puck deserve to win meter, had a 59% chance of winning, and I lost. And that was your Montreal Canadiens. I don't know what the hell happened to them early in that game, but they did have that great comeback, but they lose in the shootout. So we did lose our 5% there, but we've been hitting everything else. And that was a game I was very confident on coming in, because if you watch and I would recommend, if you have the ability to go back and watch that Tampa Bay, Florida game from a couple nights ago. I was so excited to watch that. I almost flew to Florida to see it play out. It just didn't happen, with the holidays and all. That was the most fun hockey game I have seen. And if you haven't watched it, fights galore. Tampa Bay had 77 penalty minutes. I believe Florida was in the 50s. And then Montreal was already in Tampa, because they had the last 3 days off. They were there longer than Tampa was. They're sitting there resting, they're practicing, and I just thought it was a terrible situation for Tampa. And to their credit, they came in and won that game. So, but next time they're going to play, I believe, again on February 2nd in Tampa. Make sure you watch that game, because going back to preseason, it's just been watching a boxing match and a hockey game breaks out.
Yeah.
And that's why, Brian, I think that they've got the schedule set up the way they do for the playoffs. People don't like the format for the playoffs, but I think that's why they have it the way it is, because they want these rivals playing each other in the playoffs, which me and Carm, we're fans of the 1 versus 8. I don't know your opinion on it, but the thing is that new format they've had the last handful of years, they're striving to have these teams meet in a best of 7 series, so. And the Habs game, the coach, I watch all the press conferences, Brian, as you know, I'm obsessed. And he says multiple times, he's like, there's games we've won where I didn't think that we were the better team. And there's games you lose where I thought we were the better team. And he's a very calm guy in his press conferences. And he's kind of smiling. And he's like, well, we went to a shootout. And then even John Cooper, I don't know if you saw this, Brian, the head coach of Tampa, he pretty much said that the team that was better for 65 minutes didn't win the game. I mean, that's tough. That's gambling for you, honestly. That's just how
hockey.
It goes.
That's hockey. That's baseball. The money line sports. That happens.
Yeah.
You hit a 3-run homer, and that's your only hit of the game, and the other team gets 15 hits and scores 2 runs, and you win. I mean,
it's like Carmine's Bills. They were the worst team all game, and they almost won. Still, know they.
It's sort of like that. But the funny thing is, I zipped out to grab a quick coffee this morning. There it is right there. But I normally put it on 550 WGRZ or whatever, and they're talking about the Bills game. They're instead talking about the Sabres game. The Bills lose. They're talking about the Sabres game. But with that said, it is a perfect cue up because Brian, I'm listening to them and they're talking about like the St. Louis Blues. And we talk about like teams that, they're either win 2, win 1. It's just kind of zigzagging. The Blues, you have to go back. Their last 20 games, they have not lost more than 2 in a row, and they have not won more than 2 in a row. There's a lot of singles, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. It just keeps going. How can you pick it's such a tough one. There's got to be a spot here. The Sabres are minus 116. The Blues are minus 104. I will say this: Rasmus Dahlin will miss tonight's game. He missed the Bruins game as well, too. Personal reasons. I'm not sure what the personal reasons are, but I know he missed earlier in the season because his girlfriend back in Sweden had a heart transplant. So I know he spent a lot of time with her there. So I'm not sure if has something to do with that. Hopefully it's not something like that and it's something completely different. But with that in mind, I don't want to throw off your handicap, Brian. Tell us who you like in the Blues and the Sabres game.
I've made a lot of money with St. Louis this year, either playing on them or against them. And so I feel pretty confident about this one. I put this up as a free play. Not getting enough to make it a play for clients, but I really like it. Both teams are playing better hockey as of late. In fact, the Sabres have run off 8 straight victories, as you mentioned earlier in the show. But most of the success Buffalo has had this year has been on home ice. They're only 7-9-2 away from home, and they are looking to avenge a 3-0 home shutout loss to the Blues. In retrospect, that only meeting earlier this season is something that, when you get shut out at home, that's one thing. When you get shut out at home to the St. Louis Blues, maybe another. The current streak for the Sabres, the success has been defense. They're only allowed 15 goals in their last 8 contests. You're a Sabres fan. That doesn't happen very often. The Sabres have been a team that's got that really good offense, and the defense hasn't been there. And I like it when teams play defense. We talked about that. Prez was very good about Toronto when they were playing well. It was because of the defense. And I think Buffalo is in that same situation. Blues still struggling to put the puck in the net. They produced just 46 goals their last 21 games. Only twice scoring more than 3 goals. One of those was 4, and I believe they did score 6 in one game. But I'm surprised this line is in this range, which gives us a solid edge on the visitor. Keep in mind, Jason Zucker is back in playing for Buffalo, gives him another offensive guy out there. He was averaging basically about a point a game before he got hurt. He's coming back. I didn't see any moves in the lines based on that. I think that makes Buffalo a little bit deeper here. I like Buffalo in this game, but I also, if you don't want to lay it with Buffalo, maybe play St. Louis team total under. I don't think they're going to score a lot of goals here against Buffalo. I did see a 3.5 minus 170 or something on the overnights. Don't know what's out there right now. But when a team has trouble scoring and they're playing a team that's really confident in their defense right now, I expect Buffalo to win the game, and I expect St. Louis's offense to struggle.
Yeah, Brian, a couple points to that, just to confirm. But Zucker is back with the Sabres. I think he's going to swap into the line where Greenway plays. So that was the speculation that's going to happen. There's something going on with Greenway as well too. So he's kind of into the lineup, out of the lineup, and I think Zucker fills in there, and it's a big part of having him back with the Sabres. And right now they're showing, Lindy Ruff talked about on this 3-game road trip that he was going to use a couple goalies, but they're showing right now expected Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, for my good friend TJ Salvador, who likes me to pronounce that name. He's allowed 3 or fewer goals in 11 of his last 12 starts. One bad start for him against the Calgary Flames, the game in which I think the Sabres lost like 7-4 to start that road trip. Where they went on to beat the Edmonton Oilers, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Seattle Kraken. So maybe they're showcasing him, Luukkonen, because at some point, I think this new management on the team says we're not a 3-team goalie system. They have Colton Ellis, of course. They have Alex Lyon, who's playing extremely well also. So what do? Maybe you get rid of the highest paid goalie that you have on your roster and ship them out. So so the under 3.5, if you can find under 3.5 for St. Louis, I'd probably agree with you on that one there as far as scoring against the Sabres.
Sounds good. Like to be in agreement with you guys, although we're not always in that direction, but it's nice to have guys you respect that are on the same side.
Hopefully you can still respect me, Brian, if Washington
Much
loses
respect
today.
For you, sir.
if Florida wins, I'll lose all the respect.
If he was going to lose respect for you is when your Montreal Canadiens couldn't win a shootout.
That's right. Must be a 5%.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right about that goalie situation, though. The goalie situation, it's Carmen's exactly right. You typically, the way it works is just based on, the business side of things, you always got to trade away the guy that has the highest earnings, for the most part. So like Montreal's going through it right now with their goalie situation. They don't want to have 3 goalies. So Montembeault just got called back up from his conditioning stint, but the 2 other goalies are playing well. So none of them deserve to go down, but you can't have your number one player goalie. If you send them on waivers, then they'll get claimed for free. So he did a conditioning stint. It was an NHL PA rule, a 14-day conditioning stint. Once that was over, he has to come back up with the team. The problem is, to Carm's point, they need to showcase these players. So the next time that you see, what's his name, UPL in net, or you see Montembeault for the Habs in net, maybe it's interesting to see what kind of game you get out of those guys, because they're pretty much at this point, I think some of these players, and I could be wrong, trying out for another team. They really are. They're trying, because for the Habs, if you're seeing Fowler in net, who's the future goaltender of this team, if you're in that locker room and you're a goaltender, you're looking around and saying, well, if he's playing that well, that means that one of us has to leave, so you kind of start to feel a little bit nervous, and that's how it's going right now with the Buffalo Sabres, 3 goaltenders in their situation, Brian.
I do want this. You brought up a great point, and I got to give you credit, because we were talking about Carter Hart when Vegas signed him, and you said, how long is he before he gets to be the number 1 goaltender? And I kind of blew it off, because Hill's been there forever, and he's done very well for him. And Schmidt had been great. Now, all of a sudden, Carter Hart's the number 1 goalie, and I didn't see that coming, and I follow that team. There's a lot of guys in town the same way. It's like, I was out with Marco yesterday. He goes, since when is that guy the number 1 goaltender? And I said, Andrew called that out like 3 weeks ago. I mean, I said, when you follow hockey and you're Canadian, like the rest of you guys are, you know these things before I did, and hats off for you. That was a great call.
I appreciate it, Brian. He's playing pretty well, and for the Vegas Golden Knights right now, they don't just have one goalie that can, be relied upon. They've got a couple different guys that you can rely upon, which is huge for them. We lost Carm for a second. We'll get him back here in a second, but just looking at the overall picture for them and the futures board, how are you feeling about this team? I mean, it's kind of funny, because the best I think the best couple teams in the whole league right now are in one division with Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, and obviously Vegas is a great team as well. It's kind of funny because the East has more parity right now. Like the best teams and the worst teams in the league are all in the West. And then the kind of middle teams are in the East. How do you feel big picture about the Knights right now?
I have some concerns. I really do. If you take a look at their record, they're picking up a point by going to overtime all the time.
Yeah.
And so when you get to the playoffs, they don't play the overtimes. They don't play the shootouts. So you got to knock all those games off. And if you do take a look at something like that, you realize that, the Knights just have not been that good on the season. On the year, Vegas Golden Knights have 17 wins. San Jose Sharks have 18 wins. The Utah Mammoth have 18 wins. 17 is in the same range as some of, like Calgary Flames and the Nashville Predators. Those are wins in overtime in through regulation. They are just not playing well right now. And to come off that loss against Colorado last time, Vegas had a 2-0 lead. They had a 4-2 lead. Colorado kept coming back. And once it goes to overtime, you know what's going to happen with the Vegas Knights. They just don't win overtime games. That was a devastating loss because you're coming off of a break and you see a team like that. They knew who they were going to play. They were playing Colorado. They said, we got to show against Colorado. And they thought they had the game won, found a way to lose it. And they're still without. Eichel's not there. Theodore is not there. They put Theodore on the IL. So I'm concerned about the Golden Knights.
Yeah, it's weird because they have all the makings. They have all the ingredients to be great. The good news is it's a long season, but got to stay healthy with them, and you got to get consistency as far as their goal scoring is concerned. But, maybe this is an opportunity without Eichel to really find out who you have down the lineup, is what I could say. I'm not sure where Carmine is. Hopefully he's not mad at me for jumping in there with a quick point, but we'll find out. Carm, come back.
His coffee. He took off and went back again.
You're back. Yeah, I know. I do the same thing sometimes here, Carm, but come back, Carm, if you'd like to. But, that was the next game that we were going to discuss was the Vegas Golden Knights anyway on the schedule, Brian. So if you don't mind helping me out with it, we had the Wild and we had the Vegas Golden Knights scheduled for Carm and I to break down here. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say this to throw it back to you is you mentioned, some of the injuries they've dealt with and some of the gains, but I'll just say, looking at the schedule that this team has kind of had to deal with a little bit, it hasn't been easy on them. Sometimes you can forecast like this, the segment I had last year on the show, the buy and sell, just kind of forecasting some good opportunities for teams. It hasn't been easy lately for the Vegas Golden Knights with some of these matchups that they've had by any means. So just spot and circumstances, how do you feel about this matchup for them?
Yeah, unfortunately, if you're a Knights fan, I don't think they're going to get the victory today. I have 7 plays today, and I used Minnesota as one of those plays. Unfortunately, if you're looking at Minnesota now, you're looking at a pick 'em or maybe even a favorite, as they've taken a lot of money overnight. Minnesota's played the more consistent hockey as of late, and I like the way they've been playing. Vegas, like I said, the last game, the way they lost that game. Normally, and I've talked to a lot of locals that when I go out and they see me in a casino, we talk about the Knights. And I've said this before. Normally, if the spot is a good spot for the Knights, they come out and they get the job done. This year, it has not been that way. They've had a lot of great spots where you think, oh, this is the get right game. This is the game that take no prisoners on, and they have not played well. That tells me that when you're looking at the records and you're looking at how many points they have, that's not the team that Vegas is this year. They haven't been able to put it all together. And you were right when you were talking about some of the guys at the end of the bench, and some. If you take a look at the Colorado game, just about every goal and setup assist was done by guys that you weren't expecting. Your Sissons, your Rileys, those guys at the second, third, or the third and fourth line. Really came and played very well. They shut down the better players. I think Marner had either a goal or an assist, but other than that, they shut down the better players on the Vegas team, and that's what Colorado does. I mean, Colorado's goaltending has not been great, but their defense is so good. And the way they attack, and even when Vegas was on their power plays, they couldn't even really set anything up because Colorado has so much talent. They could keep them away from, they get like one shot on a power play. That's not what Vegas usually does. Vegas is very good on a power play when everybody's healthy, but they really did not do well in that game. And I see more of that here. Minnesota is a very good team. They're very well coached, got a lot of talent, picked up a great free agent in a trade, basically a future free agent. So, I think Minnesota wins this game, and something in the 3-2 range, something in that range. I think Minnesota gets the victory here.
And I think that, we've seen Vegas a lot of times rely on their offensive capabilities to mask some defensive errors they've had. And right now, without Eichel, it's hard to mask some of those errors with goals, So, and then you start relying on a goalie too much. And, Hart's played well on some of these guys, but you give them too many shots against, they're going to not look that great anymore. So I do lean towards the Minnesota side, and we'll bring Carm in for his opinion. And, Carm, with Minnesota, this year, it's not just been one goalie, it's been two goalies. It's been that 1A, 1B, the Swayman Allmark in Boston situation where it doesn't really matter who the goalie is. Minnesota's been so great, not to mention their defensive structure. What do you think here? Are you on our side or are you against us?
Oh, well, considering we had a power failure here, which is why I disappeared off the screen. And Bri, please hang out for a little while in case that happens again. You and Andrew can close up the show. But we had an ice storm here last night, and power was out for like a couple of hours, and just happened now. Everything just shut down. But back on, I don't even know who you guys are on in this one.
We decided we're against whatever you're having.
Oh, perfect. Then with that said, I do like the Vegas Golden Knights, even missing Shea Theodore and even missing Jack Eichel tonight. Off of that loss against Colorado. And listen, a lot of teams are going to lose to Colorado. Not a lot of teams have scored 5 goals against Colorado either. This Golden Knights team is eventually going to start playing much better hockey after the break. The first one was a little tough, meeting the red hot Avs team right off the break. But I gotta believe that at home, even though this Minnesota team is playing extremely well, that if I think Wallstead isn't scheduled to go. I think it's Gustafsson. So I think they can beat him. He's been a very good goalie. They're a great 1-2 tandem that they got going on in Minnesota. But Vegas Golden Knights at home, at some point, have to start flexing their muscles and turning that into the fortress that they say it is. All that pregame show stuff is fantastic, but we need to translate that into wins. So I'll take the Vegas Golden Knights. Am I on the same side?
No.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
10 at home. That home advantage has not been there this year as opposed to prior years. And Vegas played literally, it could have been their best game of the season against Colorado. They looked really good. It was very exciting, and they still found a way to lose. The due system with Vegas, I don't think is coming this year, and it's unfortunate. They've only outscored the opposition by 5 goals on the season. Minnesota's up 19 goals. Well, we'll see what happens. I take it, I give it, and I take it away. Gave you the credit before. I have to take it away this time. I give it to Andrew.
Perfect.
I like it.
Andrew, same game parlay. Do you have a same game parlay for us?
I'm keeping it super simple here with the Carm. I've got the Winnipeg Jets and Edmonton Oilers game, and this is about as easy as it gets when it comes to making a same game parlay because you've got so much talent on the ice here with this one. I've got 3 guys. We've got a plus 190. These are just all guys to get a point, or Mark Scheifele assist, Velarde point, and Draisaitl point. That gets you to plus 195. These are head-to-head based matchups. When I look at player props, I would say 70% of what I like to start my work with, especially with these same game parlays, is head-to-head matchups with player props across all sports. And, goalies as well. You can look at player versus goalies, something worth looking at. But we see this with baseball, like, batter versus pitcher. We see this in multiple sports, basketball, whatever reason. This guy performs better against said team. Well, we have Scheifele, who gets a lot of assists against the Edmonton Oilers. Velarde has had some of his best career games against the Edmonton Oilers, and Draisaitl has been an absolute maniac right now. You can get an assist prop with him. You can take his shots on goal prop with him. But I just threw in the point prop, plus 195. So it's going to be a higher scoring game, I do believe. Prez liked the over earlier. He's been doing well with his hockey. We're getting close to plus 200. I know it's not the 4-1, the 6-1 that you guys usually get from me, but these couple guys together, I like this one quite a bit. Plus 195, Velarde point, Scheifele assist, and Draisaitl point. Let's cash this, guys.
All right. I like it, which leads us to, before the power cuts out, please don't cut out, our pod play. I do have a pod play, and I will go through it, and then I want to hear if Brian is going to be on the same as me in this one. Let me mark down the time on this one so I know at what point Brian disagreed with me. The pod play for today is the Calgary Flames. I'm taking Calgary Flames and laying the short price with them. This is a team that's playing extremely well on home ice at the moment. 8-1-1 on home ice after starting the season 2-4-1. Only one regulation loss of their last 10. You get the Bruins coming in, who are struggling to score goals. 10 goals over the last 5 games. All 5 games are losses. The regression has hit the Boston Bruins. Boston, you're only allowed to have one good team at a time, and it looks like that's the Patriots right now. So I am fading the Bruins, taking the hot Calgary Flames at home, pun intended, minus 128. The pod sits at 40% increase since the start of the season. Let's see if we can keep that going.
I lean that way. I agree. And it's hard for me to disagree with your play today. It's been terrific. You're with over $2,000 since you've done it. It didn't make my card, but I leaned to Calgary. I do want to point out, I mentioned I was 16-3 over the weekend. I've got 7 plays today. I've got 2 hockey. I've got 3 college basketball. I believe, I don't know if I've got 1 NBA play, I believe. But I do have a pretty sizable play in the bowl game. We're 10-3 bowl season, and been very good in that. And there's 1 bowl game today. That's my top play on today's card. So grab that. You're better off probably just grabbing the entire day for $39, or we've got these nice specials. Check out what you can get for an extended period, because we're up over pretty close to 110 units since September 9th, I believe. More than doubled our clients' bankrolls. So it's been a really nice run over the last 5 months. If you haven't joined, maybe this is the time to do so.
All right, Brian, wish you the best of luck. Monster day for you. Head over to WagerTalk. You can pick up that 1-day all access and get all of his plays. And we have that great deal, I think. What's the code, Andrew, for the 25% off? Is it Xmas25 or Xmas25? You guys can get 25% off. So give Brian some love for hanging around while my power up here in Canada went gonzo, kind of like the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I had to get one shot in before the show was over. I really had to. All right, man. Good luck, Andrew. There's a question in there. One guy asked, how are the Washington Capitals playing better when they're 3-7 in their last 10? I get it from a win-loss perspective. You can look at a team, but much like the Rangers early on in the season, where I said you have to sort of look at some of the core numbers. Is this team just getting unlucky and not getting the wins? Are they playing well? Because you can play bad and look bad, and the numbers are bad. And then you can look at a team like the Washington Capitals that they're now in the top half of the fewest penalty minutes allowed early on in the season. That was killing them. The power play has to get better. That's the one bad part of the team in the penalty killing, but more shots on goal, fewer shots allowed per game, more XG being created. At some point, those two lines will cross and they go on a streak. And while they might be 3-7 in their last 10 games, they're 4 points out of top spot behind the Carolina Hurricanes. Would you say the Carolina Hurricanes are having a great season? And if your answer is yes, they're only 4 points up on the Washington Capitals. So that is something to keep into mind. I just wanted to let you guys know from that point.
One thing about that, Carm, and I'm not joking around about our, back disagreement on the game. I think it could be, I saw something as well. He has been great with his save prop. Logan Thompson, for anybody that likes hand, because this could benefit you, it could benefit me, because I do think Florida's been shooting the puck a lot. And if Washington gets some good goaltending out of him, he could go over his number. I'm waiting to see that come out. If I get a pretty good number on Thompson, it could be worth it, Carmen. The funny thing is, it could make good use out of both of our handicaps. I'm expecting lots of shots. I'm expecting, Washington to give up some shots, but Washington's offense has been great. So you could win your bet. And if I give out the over save prop for him, then that means lots of shots happen. So we'll see. But I do think, regardless of the outcome, I think that could be a good bet today. And I've been exploring that market a lot more lately, which is the goalie save props, because you're betting it on either. It doesn't necessarily mean you're betting on a winning goalie or a losing goalie of that night, just particularly how many shots you plan on them giving up, which is kind of a good option.
I do want
Andrea, you're at your age, Andrew. You're supposed to explore. The older you get, like Brian and I, we just settle into our routines and stuff. So go ahead, explore. Just be careful, because Lindsay and her family will put a hit out on you if you stray too far from the herd.
Hey.
So he says.
I do want to point out that if you're looking at the Washington schedule, basically every team they played since the first couple of days of this the month of December, every team is within 2 points of the playoff spot. So they've had some really tough games, and just because you're not winning them does not mean you're a bad team. And you got to take everything into account, as you guys just pointed out.
All right. So promo wise for me, 2 plays up in the NHL tonight. One's a 4% best bet, and then a 3% play as well too. Nothing else going on. No soccer. Swept yesterday. Only one road game today that, and I don't like it. One college football play that goes at 2:00, and it's just a client play. So I will tell you, it is Georgia Southern laying the points in that one. Such a weird line as well too in that game. It started at 2, I think, Brian, and shot up to like 9.5 because a bunch of people sitting out in that one. Yeah. But with that said, guys, this Xmas deal 25 is fantastic. It's a great deal. Listen, this whole year coming up is going to be action packed for myself at the very least, because other than, of course, NFL, college football, NHL, soccer, the World Cup, there's pretty much, and baseball, there is no day in which there won't be any action. You're going to get 365 days of action if you get that 1 year all access. They dropped it $500 on the page, so there's already $500 off, and then you can get an additional 25% off with that coupon code. So you're going to get it even cheaper. You're going to end up getting it for like $850 off of the regular price. That in itself is a great deal. Works out to roughly about $3.50 a day. That is a great deal. Head over to WagerTalk, and you can find it on my page, wt.buzz/CB. Andrew, what do you got going, and close out the show?
Guys, I got one World Hockey package up right now. And as I keep talking about the World Hockey, I know it's a smaller market. I know it's a junior league, but it's something I look at every single year. I do follow the junior prospects. And as I was talking about earlier on the show, it's amazing, guys. We're betting hockey lines that are almost like football spreads. I literally took a team the other day plus 6.5 in hockey, in a hockey game. So that's what we're handicapping right now in World Hockey. I got a package up for that. And 4% best bet in NFL player props. Number 1 this year at all of WagerTalk with player props in the NFL, plus 23 units. You got to know what you know and know what you don't know. And the sides and the totals haven't been as great for me, but the props, we're doing very well with them. So that's about it for me at the 4%. And Brian, you're about crushing it with everything. What was that run you were on? Mention it one more time.
I think we're plus 108 units since September 9th.
Unbelievable.
It's just very consistent, and 16-3 over the weekend. So
very well done. Very well done. All right, guys. WagerTalk.com, wt.buzz/CBAM or BL. We'll try and find you guys some winners. All the best. We'll see you guys next time here on Puck Time.